Hello. Hi, dear ones. Welcome to Self Love Sermons. I'm Ellen Gilbert. I'm a Divine Feminine Self Love Coach, and I am live here every Tuesday. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I've just rearranged my home office. So it's going to be a different view than we're used to, and I'm here for it. Let me know what you think. A little less distracting than before. Of course, Luna is still lying right beside me. Once you're here, let me know. Put a comment in the chat. Thank you for being here. I'm getting my cameras all situated because I'm in a new position and I'm not used to seeing myself from this angle. It's very new. How are we doing tonight, dear ones? The theme of tonight's sermon is from scarcity to abundance. It is Thanksgiving week, gratitude week. And as I reflect on gratitude, so much to be thankful for. So much. I think of what gratitude really means to me, and that is this sense of abundance through all times in our lives, through all difficulties, and even when it wanes, we can bring it back. Just as the cycles of the moon shift, she waxes and wanes. Just as the wheel of the sun turns now into winter, into more darkness, into the dream time, just as our energy wanes throughout the day, throughout the week, the month, the year, the seasons of life, so too do we wane and wax on this scale of scarcity and abundance. Welcome, Claire. So glad you made it. We'll see if we have any other live viewers tonight or not. But the replay will always be available. Do you like my new setup? What do you think? Yes, so we're always on this spectrum of scarcity and abundance, and that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. This sort of lack mentality, these old lack stories, and what the heck does any of this have to do with the Divine Feminine? Because after all, I've just rebranded as a Divine Feminine Self-Love Coach, which is very exciting. Luminous Leanings is transitioning to Ellen Gilbert Coaching, and I'm really going to focus on working with women specifically in the realm of the Divine Feminine, which could be anything from moon cycles, menstrual cycles, talking about pleasure practices and destigmatizing desire, healing internalized patriarchy, internalized capitalism, and saving our planet. These things are all interrelated. And as I talk about a lot, to me, Divine Feminine self-love is the shameless pursuit of rest, community, and pleasure. So you're going to see these sermons start to take on a more definite focus in that way. And this whole scarcity abundance discussion is definitely a discussion of the Divine Feminine. So, welcome to another sermon. If you would like to make an energetic exchange tonight, I'm sharing a link where you can make a donation, and you can always sign up for reminders. Now you can add self-love sermons to your calendar so that you have the link right in your calendar. You never miss another sermon. It's all very exciting. Invite your friends. So, as a check-in, today I want to ask, where are you feeling a sense of lack in your life? Maybe it's a sense of scarcity, a sense of not enough. Maybe there are many places in your life where you're feeling this, but let's focus on the one that first comes to mind. Like, where in your body, in your energy, in your environment, in your life areas, are you feeling a sense of scarcity, a sense of lack, a sense of not enough, and maybe like, I'll never be enough? That can often be the story that our ego and our inner critic gives us. You'll never be enough. You'll never be worthy. Where are you feeling this in your life right now? If you feel so vulnerable and courageous, because these two go together, I would love you to put it in the chat below. Claire says, time for playing the piano. Oh, yes. Such a beautiful, genuine desire that you have to play the piano, and you're feeling a lack of that time. Well, no wonder. Two small ones at home and the pandemic. And yet, we're going to talk about bringing a sense of abundance to this tonight. Thank you for sharing. I would say I've been pretty challenged lately. Definitely just having this concern of like the future, like, will there ever be enough, abundance, maybe in my bank account, in our wealth situation to start a family? That's definitely been a concern. I was just talking to my husband last night, like, if I waited till I was a millionaire to have kids, I would be waiting my whole life. Um, and so yeah, I've definitely experienced some lack there. Oh, Claire says not enough music skill, not enough practice. Yes, absolutely. Which takes time, right? And then it's really about time. Like, there's not enough time. I was talking to a client recently. It's like we wake up with this mentality of, I'm already late, you know. Maybe you've hit the snooze button a couple times, so we're already scarce for time. We're scarce for energy because we didn't get enough sleep. And then we're rushing to get out the door because we don't have enough time in our morning to spend it the way we would like. Maybe pre-pandemic, if you're able to work from home during the pandemic. Um, but yeah, that sets us up for a day of scarcity, doesn't it? Absolutely. And tonight we're going to talk about shifting from scarcity to abundance and what this really means. And I will say there's a lot of talk about abundance and law of attraction floating out right now. A lot of it is really beautiful and coming from such a genuine place. But my fear is that as a society, specifically as a capitalist society, we bypass enough in the name of abundance. So we bypass the present moment, what is, how things really are, in the name of attracting what could be. And I think it's this really delicate balance that we have to strike. And that's where I come at it as a law of attraction practitioner. We have to hold space first for what is. We have to train in our mindfulness, in our wisdom, because with whom much is given, much is expected. And that's really how the universe operates with abundance. If you have all these beautiful blessings around you, breath in your lungs, the day all around you to be experienced, and yet you're numbing out, you're zoning out, you're vegging out, you're tuning out, then all that was given to you, number one, can be taken away and definitely won't be added to. This is my experience. This is how I understand law of attraction and how I understand abundance. So we're going to talk about all these complexities tonight. I'm going to give you some concrete ways to shift from scarcity to abundance. But let's begin. Hi, Holly. Welcome. Let's begin with a little meditation. We're going to light a candle. So I invite you to light a candle with me if you are able. Setting your intention for our time together. As long as this candle is burning, may we be present. May we remember our worthiness, our belonging. May we be loving ourselves. Yes. I'm gonna put that hopefully where you can see it now. Got a little more space here. Very nice. Excellent. All right. So coming to a comfortable seat, maybe bringing both feet on the floor. Shifting in any way you need to, stretching, twisting, settling in. Take a deep breath in through the nose, filling the lungs completely. And through the mouth, exhale. Good. Now letting the eyes close. Do that again. Now giving it everything you've got. Do that one more time. Good. Letting the breath be normal with no manipulation. But being conscious of the rise and fall of the belly. Being conscious of the stillness. Your relationship to the stillness. And holding these things in compassion. Feeling the body, the entire body, sitting here breathing. Maybe right away bringing conscious gratitude to your body, to its ancient wisdom, which functions without you having to even think about it. And especially during COVID-19 times, can you sense the preciousness of this breath and this one? And this one. What a sweet, sweet, miraculous gift. I invite you, dear one, to bring a sense of abundance to your body. What does that feel like for you, this word abundance? Is it more spaciousness with every breath in? More openness? More sensory experience? More pleasure? Do you feel your heart lightening, shimmering, expanding? Perhaps you sit up a little taller, shoulders back, heart open, breath deepening. You are safe here in your abundance. In this moment, feet on the floor, connected to your Mother Earth. You are within your birthright. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Bring a smile to the lips and feel how that shifts the experience. Take one more deep breath in and let it go. Gently opening the eyes, transitioning back. Hi, dear ones, welcome back. What was that like for you? What did abundance feel like in your body? I try not to be too leading with the prompts. I am curious what that felt like for you. Hmm. I actually had an inner critic moment. I've been really digging into my inner critic work lately. And when I sit taller so the crown can sit on my head, when I open my heart, and when I breathe deeply, and when I smile, this voice comes in that says, "Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to say that your birthright is abundance? Who do you think you are?" Very interesting, isn't it, dear ones? Who do we think we are? Well, I think I am worthy, and I think I belong. And that's the foundation of my abundance work. And it's really fun to piss off the inner critic. If you're doing it right, if you're doing life right, if you're in your abundance, I should say, because we're not always in our abundance, and that's okay. If you're in your abundance, the inner critic is going to get louder. The confusion and the suffering that can bring up can be strong. But when you start working with it and say, "Oh yeah, this is just a sign that I'm in my abundance," it can kind of help spur you on. Okay, so what is scarcity and what is abundance? What the heck am I talking about? So, scarcity mentality is the mentality that, like I said, there's not enough, there's a lack. And it's generally because our ego works in mirrors, everything's a reflection of us to our ego. Then, if we're seeing that there's not enough externally, whether it's money, resources, community, um, maybe it's experiences like FOMO, fear of missing out. Right now, hello, 2020. Uh, Maybe it's, pleasure in life. You're seeing there's not enough of it. Then the ego can turn that around and say, well, you're not enough. You're not enough because there's not enough, you're not enough. And vice versa. We can really feel an internalized unworthiness our entire lives thanks to the way our brains and nervous systems have evolved. And then we can really project that out onto others, onto our work, onto anything that could be a reflection of our ego. So that's scarcity mentality. And of course, like attracts like. So if you're in a scarcity space, if you're in a scarcity energy, an energy of not enoughness, then you're attracting more of the same. And I don't mean this to be sort of victim blaming because I really hate that when like business coaches say, for example, that you have to be in a good space to sort of um, pursue your life's work or to reach that next level. But let's say you're feeling really down about something. Maybe you're experiencing grief. Maybe you're experiencing loss. I mean, we pretty much always are doing some level of grief work in our lives. So I don't mean to be shaming or blaming about that because that is not helpful at all. Like, when we need to feel the grief come through us, we need to let it be. There's a time and place for this abundant shifting we're talking about tonight. And this is not to say that you're a bad person if you're in an energy of lack or scarcity at all. Again, we have to stop identifying with everything. We have to stop labeling everything as good or bad because it's really just a subconscious projection that I am good or I am bad. And really, the whole point of any of this is to help us suffer less. That's it. And who does that benefit or harm? You. That's it. So keep that in mind. Take it all with a grain of salt. So that's scarcity. Now, abundance is on the other side of the spectrum, of course. That's, feeling very resourced in your life, whether it is money, which is just another form of energy, or love, or belonging, or a sense of excitement. You feel like your cup is overflowing, it's so full. And I also want to introduce tonight the concept of enoughness, which I think is tied up in abundance. I don't think it's like scarcity, enough, abundance. I think enough and abundance go together, but because of our capitalist culture, we're so obsessed with development and production and consuming that we think abundance has to mean excess. And I've been really sitting in this lately of like, they just keep moving the bar, whoever they are, like the Joneses that we're keeping up with, right? And if the bar keeps moving, then our definition of success, our definition of abundance keeps getting pushed back. And we're never able to be in this enoughness. We're actually chasing this abundance, which is actually a scarcity energy and mentality. I hope that makes sense. Um, I've been thinking about this a lot because y'all know I'm trying to shift internalized capitalism out of my body. And this is something that I've really experienced, especially in the law of attraction space. It's sort of like you feel shamed into shooting for such a high level of abundance that you forget to even stop and ask yourself, well, who is this for? Like, do I really want that, or is that what people want for me? Vero says it does. Yeah, absolutely. And something my Buddhist lineage, my meditation practice of Vipassana mindfulness meditation has taught me is the abundance of presence, the abundance of enoughness, the abundance of stillness and silence. And it's this universal abundance that we're already tapped into. Like, we're already a part of it, but we forget, right? Spiritual life is a process of forgetting and remembering. We forget so quickly and so easily. So, I would like us to think of abundance as remembering our universal or divine state, which is abundance. It's natural abundance. All right. So, yeah, how to not do abundance would be don't define success by anyone else's terms. Really, if you're gonna be in a space of manifestation, or what I call manifestation, if you're gonna set an intention to attract something very specific, and y'all know I talk about the universe responds to specificity. If you're already, trying to attract something, then I want you to be really conscious of who it's for. Like, when did the idea enter your mind that you needed that beach house? Or, that partner? Or whatever it is that's on your manifestation vision board. And I hope you have one. I have many things that I'm always attracting. But it's that question of like, who is this for? Is this really coming from me? Or was this handed to me by something I saw on Instagram? Was this handed to me subtly and subconsciously and subversively through, social media and through just seeing what my friends have or what they want or what goals other people in my field are setting? I think it's so important. And we have to check ourselves constantly. And then we also need to be willing to let go of certain dreams. Because I think we can get really attached. I know I was cleaning out my office the other day for this rearrange that I did, and I found all these business plans from like college age on because I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And I mean, they were for businesses that I never started, ideas that I had and dreams that I had that never came about because guess what? I'm one person. I only have so much energy and so much time. And I'm so blessed that I've been able to direct that now into this coaching world and this current adventure. Uh, but I'm multi passionate, So finding those, I had to do a little bit of grief work. I was like, oh, there's certain things I'll never get to live out. There are certain timelines and dreams that will just never happen. I don't think that's a lack or a scarcity mentality. I think that's an acceptance mentality. And so I think sometimes this abundance narrative tells us that we have to go for it all. We have to have it all. Especially as women, it's like, well, we can have it all. And so we should. We should, strive for all of it. And, a lot of my clients tell me that when they have their ego kind of awakening and they're starting to distinguish the ego and the higher self, that striving really was an ego part, and it's really complicated for them to release it because they've identified so much with the striving, with the badass empowered woman. And it's very interwoven. And the ego's not all bad. It's not all bad, but we have to be in control of it. We want the higher self in the driver's seat, right? That was quite a I kind of rambled a bit there for a minute, but I think I think you're on the same page with me. I hope you are. Um, any questions, please put them through. But now I'm gonna move on into how to do this, how to shift from scarcity to abundance. So y'all know I created some gratitude journal sheets several months ago. If you go to luminousleanings.com and you search gratitude, you'll find them. And they really combined for me gratitude, abundance, and pleasure in a way that was really useful. This is the gratitude practice I still have today. So many people have been talking about gratitude journaling, for like a decade, and it's for a reason. It actually really helps. Um, and so that is a great starting point. Is, maybe it's making a list of 3 things that happened today that you are grateful for, especially when you're sort of in a lack space and you're feeling like there's just nothing. I'll often challenge myself, like, well, what are you grateful for? And I can just look around the room, and find 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I write that at the end of the day. I like to sometimes word it as I'm grateful for blank. So please bring me more of this same energy. And maybe I already know what I'm manifesting. So I'll say, I'm grateful for this. So please bring me this. Or I'm grateful for this. So please bring me the same in this form, you know? And it gets you in touch not only with the object or the person or the experience that you're grateful for, but with the energy behind it. Like, we're not grateful for the material thing. We're grateful for something that it represents, something that it brings out in us. and that something is abundance. So, for example, when I am one day manifesting that first child, I can think of other relationships in my life that bring me that same maternal, just pure love energy, and I can use that as like a touch point to focus on. So, for example, Luna, I'll probably I'll probably be thinking about her, thinking about my precious nieces and nephew, like all of those relationships that are similar, or the experiences I've had that remind me of that thing I'm trying to manifest. So that's number one. And then, I also, last week we talked about a pleasure practice. And I think I'm still trying to get this camera right. This is absolutely still relevant for abundance. Pleasure and abundance go hand in hand. So when we are experiencing pleasure and inviting and allowing pleasure into our lives, we are signaling to the universe, like, hey, over here, look at what I'm doing with all you've given me. I'm letting it in. I'm receptive. I'm experiencing it. I'm sending back gratitude for it. I'm really embodying pleasure. And the universe is going to be like, all right, here's some more. That's the idea of law of attraction. And so when we get in this mind space, also we can just notice more pleasure. It's the exact same thing. We're showing the universe that we believe we are worthy when we have a pleasure practice. And as I said last week, a pleasure practice would be doing at least one thing a day that incorporates your senses, that really brings you into the present moment, that you can identify as like, that was pleasurable. That's a great way to bring abundance in. And if you struggle with your gratitude list, you can swap it with a pleasure list. Maybe it's not the things that brought you pleasure that day. Maybe it's the things that bring you pleasure in general, or that you would imagine would bring you pleasure. And then guess what? That becomes your to-do list. That becomes your to-do list. So, gratitude, pleasure practices, absolutely key for shifting from scarcity to abundance, you know? And I'll just say for every time we want to shift, I think we need to start with witnessing and holding space for the lack. I should have said this first. You know, again, it's about the pure awareness. If we want to tap into our natural abundance that the universe is, that we are, we have to get really quiet and really still. And I see people trying to avoid this at all costs. Like my students will tell me, like, give me anything but the meditation. Like, what other mindfulness things do you have? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but we gotta get there eventually, because that's where the good stuff is. Vero says, wow, I never thought of just grabbing daily pleasure to thank and ask for more. It makes so much sense. Plus, it maintains your presence. Yes, Vero. Oh, are you going to start a pleasure practice? Let me know what you're going to do. I love getting inspiration from others for what I should do for my pleasure practice. So beautiful. So, yeah, starting with this witnessing, like, okay, I'm in scarcity mode. I'm in lack energy. You know, that's the hardest part. Are you kidding me? This is a energetic boomerang we're sending out into the universe, which is our energy, our intention all day long. So to actually catch it and be aware of it and look at it, that's the hardest freaking part. So I want you this week, this is your homework, to get really clear, about how does lack, how does scarcity show up for you, or how is it showing up for you? What are those same old stories that the inner critic is playing on freaking replay in your mind? Because they're often like the same patterns. Some of the content might shift throughout our lives, but the pattern was probably imprinted before you were 5 years old. Like, that's just how our human brains work. But luckily, they can be changed. And you are a powerful being. You can shift your brain, you can shift your patterning. Because right now, your mind just takes the path of least resistance. So you gotta carve, you gotta start forging that trail. And I know you can do it because I've done it and I've seen so many people do it. Okay? And don't push it away when you know, I mean, that's like half of what I'm always talking about with mindfulness, with self compassion, right? Hold the space and don't push it away. Don't label the scarcity as bad or wrong. Hold it with compassion. My goodness, if this were a wounded animal or a sick child, you wouldn't push it away and say you're bad. Yes, it's experiencing something that you want to shift because you don't want suffering, but you don't throw the whole baby out with the bathwater. You're giving it love, you're giving it compassion. This is how we need to treat ourselves. When we push away our thoughts, our energy, our lack of energy, which is a big thing I do. I call it energy shaming. When we're subtly pushing away these things all day long, we're rejecting ourselves. Like we're subconsciously telling ourselves that we are not enough and that we're not even worth a moment of space held, a moment of compassion. And that shit sticks with us and gets recycled over and over till we wake up and decide to shift out of it, which you are all capable of doing. So, yeah, don't push it away. Hold it with love. As we practice here, right? Putting the hands on the heart, just saying, this is really hard right now. I'm experiencing lack, and you can name it. Like, I'm feeling a lot of scarcity around money or around my energy, or, maybe you can't quite put your finger on it. I'm just feeling like there's not enough, or I'm not enough, or this day is not enough. Sometimes it's like, this is just a bad day. You just write it off, and by you, I mean me. This is what I do. I'll just be like, well, the night is ruined if something happens. And we can hold that like, oh, wow, I'm sorry I'm feeling that right now. Okay, so awareness, witnessing with compassion, and then mantra is also so great for this. You can say, may I release this old story. May I release this old story of lack. May I release this old story of not enough. Ugh, may we all release that shit, because it is a lie, y'all. And you can say, like a moth to the flame, may I draw in abundance. May I become a magnet of abundance. May I wake up to and recognize that my nature is abundance, that the universe's nature is abundance. And again, I'll tell you, the way I came to that truth and that knowledge was through meditation and is through my ongoing meditation practice, where I tap into it intentionally in quiet stillness, in sitting. That's it. And remember, enoughness is abundance. We don't have to push it. We don't have to go past any level that isn't feeling within energetic integrity. Enough really is enough. Like, that's what it means. Enough. Sufficient. Even though we have a very negative relationship with sufficiency in this culture. Another beautiful way to shift from scarcity to abundance is to redefine success for yourself. Redefine abundance. And I want you to do this, like create that vision board or make a list. Like, what is success for you? And it can change. That's allowed. That's okay. You know, examine where these stories are coming from and if they're really in integrity, and then re examine some more. Hmm. And visualize yourself receiving these blessings. Visualize yourself receiving the things that you put on this list. This is called receptivity. It is a divine feminine principle. In fact, feminine energy really just means receptive energy. It doesn't have anything to do with human gender. These are just the terms that we're using. Okay, so how can you be more receptive? Maybe it's receptive to feedback. It's hard to be receptive to feedback, to, constructive criticism is one of my big fears as someone who suffers from the good girl myth of perfection. But if I want to receive the blessings of the universe, if I want to receive success as I define it in my life, joy, pleasure, goodness, community, then I have to receive feedback. Absolutely. I want to be open. I want to be open to changing my mind, right? We need to normalize these things. Openness. Openness to compliments. Like, how many times do we downplay a compliment, you know? But this is part of receptivity. No, if we want to claim the blessings of the universe, we need to claim these beautiful words of affirmation from those who love us. Just say thank you. Next time you get a compliment, just say thank you. All right. And then two opportunities. Remain open to change. Because guess what? That's the nature of everything. That's the nature of life. That's the nature of humans. It's the nature of our experience is change. So receptivity also means being open to change. Claire, what about when you really don't have enough time to do something? Yeah. Is the idea to say, I will find the time if it's important to me? Ooh, maybe. You know, I would say, what does your intuition tell you in that moment? You know, I can't speak for you in that exact context. I think that the idea is to say, maybe I have an abundance of choices, around what I do with my time. With these things that are finite, and time and energy and money, they can absolutely be finite in this material reality. And that's what I was talking about before with acceptance. I don't think we have to numb or put down accepting what is in order to attract abundance. I really don't. I just can't reconcile that in my mind. So yeah, maybe for you it's saying, I will find the time if it's important to me. Absolutely. Because every priority is a choice, isn't it? It's a choice what we do with it. Hmm. And even in those moments, I think what is expansive about time, what is expansive about energy and money, even. Some people can stretch a dollar around the block. Like, it's about the intention we bring to it and the presence we show up with it in order to experience it. That's what stretches those finite elements for me. Like, if I was going to eat a meal, a beautiful meal I had cooked for myself, and I was going to sit in front of the TV, then I would probably have about a tenth of the pleasure and the mindfulness and the experience as if I had eaten that meal, at the table. some candles, and really focus on every bite. And so I like to think, how can we stretch time, energy, just through being here, being present, fitting in that little bit of piano playing and really just dropping into it when you get a moment, not with the thought of, I only got a minute, but just the thought of, wow, this feels so good. This feels so good. What a difference that makes. Hmm. So we've got gratitude and pleasure practices. We've got our awareness. We've got our redefining success, our receptivity. I also want you to renegotiate your boundaries. Because, again, talking about time and energy, these finite things, we've got to put structures around them. It's not just like, oh, if I wish hard enough, everything will work out. No, I'm not about that. Like, I'm a coach. I'm about people setting boundaries and people actually making trades to get the abundance that they're trying to attract. I don't think the universe is like some gumball machine that we put a quarter in and we just get the gumball. I think we have to do the work, and I think we have to make the priorities. We have to make the choices, because we're always making the choices. The question is, are you going to be awake and conscious and aware while you're making the choices? Or are you going to tune out, zone out, all those things? You're welcome, Claire. You are so welcome. Great question. Renegotiating your boundaries. Yeah. So make room for structural abundance in your life. Again, this just tells the universe you're making the space. You're rearranging your schedule to fit in that piano practice, that whatever you're trying to attract. The time to prepare for that next job transition of your dreams, the time to start planning for a family or to take that vacation. You're putting the actual structures in place. Maybe that's all that's within your control right now, is just putting some time on your calendar each day to manifest it, to create your vision board, to create your lists, to meditate and visualize, or maybe you're budgeting, you're setting aside a little bit every paycheck for this thing that you're attracting, because we owe it to ourselves, and we can help the universe in this strategy of abundance. Okay? So shifting your time, your money, and your energy. Renegotiating your boundaries often means energetic boundaries. It's not about quitting your job. It's not about maybe, changing from full time to part time. Maybe it's like changing your mindset when you're at work. You're not going to let it drain your heart. You're not going to identify with it to the point where you're getting your worthiness from your boss or from your achievements. Or, maybe you're saying when it's 5 o'clock, like that's it. It's over. That's really doing a ritual, putting some boundaries between the work day and the rest of your day. Especially if you work from home. Oh my gosh, I love these little rituals. I'll like change my clothes, go for a walk around the block, have a special drink like a kombucha or something, or a glass of wine, and just say, I'm shifting from work mode to pleasure mode, to rest mode. And it makes such a huge difference. So, yeah, renegotiate those boundaries, whether they're physical or they're energetic, okay? And reconnect with your abundant nature. That's really the point I want to end on tonight. If you don't understand what I mean by this, if this is something you've never tapped into, I really hope you'll book a session with me. I'm doing these individual sessions now. You only have to book one. You can go to luminousleanings.com. My website will be changing. I'll keep you posted on all that. It will always redirect from luminousleanings.com. But book a session with me. Let's tap into that together as a divine feminine self love coach. I constantly guide my clients through visualizations of abundance, what we call manifestation. We drop into the body, we do guided meditations on the spot, and then, of course, that's mixed with my training as a coach and as a meditation teacher. So it's a lot of fun, and I hope that you can find a way, maybe tonight or this week, especially with the holidays. We're celebrating Thanksgiving here in the U.S. It's a time. It can be a time to celebrate abundance. I hate Black Friday as a holiday. I really do not like it because of our consumerist culture. It's like we have one day for gratitude and the next day we're back in the lack mode so hard that we're like trampling people to buy shit. No, thank you. If you can, don't shop on Black Friday. Be part of this movement of people that are trying to take that day back into this week of gratitude and abundance. Okay, Claire says, I love the idea of the end of workday ritual, like Mr. Rogers changing into a cardigan. Yes, oh my god, I am Mr. Rogers. It all comes full circle. I love that so much. That's awesome. Oh my god, that makes me so happy. That's probably where I got it. um, but yeah, I hope your takeaway tonight is just you are an abundant being. You have boundless light and love within you. And however that experience feels for you, contact that regularly. That's going to help on this journey. And no matter where you are, if you're in scarcity tonight, if you're in abundance, if you're somewhere in between, like, just remember you are right where you're supposed to be. It belongs. This entire experience belongs, and may it serve your awakening. You know, may it serve your awakening. Claire, I love your Black Friday commentary. It is ironic. Oh, drives me nuts. All right, dear ones, let's check in with another quick little breath. Closing the eyes if you wish, just breathing in, filling the belly completely, and let it go. Really stretch those belly muscles if you can. Just release the belly completely, especially if you're a woman. It's such a taboo area to allow to relax completely. We're taught to hold in our bellies. Let it all hang out. Feel with your hands the skin stretching as you take deep breaths in and out. And I invite you to say it with me, whether out loud or in your head. I am enough. This is enough. We are enough. May I be awake. May I be aware. May I be attracting more of this same beautiful energy. Take a deep breath in. Bring the arms overhead, gathering in the energy, bringing it down to your heart. Exhale. Welcome back. Thank you, beautiful souls, for joining me for another sermon. This was so much fun. If you would like to connect, you can find me at luminousleanings.com. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. Please send me a message. Let me know how you liked tonight's sermon. You can always make a donation. Again, money's just energy, so this is an energetic exchange. I do these sermons freely from my heart, so there's never any pressure, but only if it serves you. So thank you for joining. Whatever you do this week, may you remain in your gratitude and your pleasure and your abundance, remembering your birthright, your natural state of boundlessness. I love you all. So much love. I'll see you next week. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but it's going to be good. Go book a session. You get a free 30-minute session with me if you're a new client. So go to luminousleanings.com, book your free exploratory call with me. I can't wait to chat with you. Bye.